Yo, what's good, YouTube? GamerZero coming at you with some more Shadowrun Hong Kong. So, let's get it. Wampoa Garden, a carnival of chrome and neon, rife with every manner of technology and artifice one can imagine. The entire area has the feel of a night market, save that chips are sold in lieu of steam buns, and vendors hawk the latest drones rather than folk arts. Something stalks these streets, hiding just out of sight. It stalks the Wampoan elders, the leaders of the band of tech-savvy squatters that have claimed this neighborhood as their own. The streets smell of ozone and fear, and those Wampoans you pass in the MTR station have a haunted, furtive look in their eye. While the killer has struck only at the elders thus far, it may only be a matter of time before ordinary residents are menaced as well. Did I bring a team? I did. Okay, good. I got Ragnar. Because I'm like, alright, let's do it like this. Let's give, yeah, let's give you a kits. And everyone should be good. Let me give Ragnar a little more something, something. Conform. Alright. The streets of Wampoa Garden are slick with rain, glittering under the neon glow of myriad signs and holographic displays. The sky reflects the same glow, painting the white apartment blocks the sickly orange of sodium streetlights. The smell of grilling meat mingles with other, rarer scents: ozone, engine oil, and high-tech fabrication facilities. Despite the hour, there are plenty of people out and about. You can hear the calls of street vendors and toots urging people into their stores. Isobel wrinkles her nose, scowling darkly. She wraps her arms tightly around her chest, staring off into the distance. Is there a word for feeling nostalgic for a place you can't wait to leave again? I don't miss this place, but I miss the feelings I had when I lived here. Saudade, maybe. Isobel shakes her head. No, that's not it. It's close, but she lets the sentence trail off into nothingness, clamping her mouth shut for a moment. Isobel sighs heavily. This place seemed like heaven after the walled city, like the whole world had unfurled in front of me, and anywhere I turned, there was a promise of a good life. Turned out this place was just as crappy as everywhere else. Everyone was still in it for themselves. If my own life in the Barrens taught me anything, it's that if you can find people worth sticking with, they'll save your life. You live for each other, watch each other's backs. Duncan shrugs. That's about as deep as it gets for me. Perhaps then that is enough. If it works for you, good. Isobel turns toward you and points down the street to your left. We're looking for the Wampoan elders. They're gonna be in the Wampoa itself. That's the big ship down the street. I've seen pictures. It looks like a yacht. Isobel nods, lips pursed. That's the one. Kinda hard to miss. And it's been a fixture since late last century. These days, it's just a squat. Shops are family affairs, not corporate ones. Is there anything I should know about the Wampoans? They're all tech heads, tinkers, and self taught scientists. Despite the fact that there's no formal education system, everyone here is pretty smart. They apprentice kids to skilled workers so they can learn a trade. Elder Gao taught me decking, and I left after she got brain fried trying to crack a Mitsuhama network. Elder Ip taught me to shoot. He should still be here. Come on, let's go see what they have to say for themselves. I heard he's not just dead, he's been all cut up. The elders don't want anyone to go inside without their permission. It must be pretty bad in there. I don't know. I just don't feel safe here anymore. And the people begin to trip the fuck out. That is always what ends up happening when disaster strikes. This orc woman is festooned with small circuits, tiny trid screens, and speakers. The trid screens display snippets of trid broadcasts from every corner of the world. The tiny speakers play counterpoint, with the susurus of voices speaking Sparathiel, Punjabi, Kazakh, and other languages. Her expression is haggard, and she fidgets with her fingers as you approach. Welcome. Welcome to the Wampoa, my friend. I am Elder Ng, and these elders are Tang and Ip. Ng gestures to the elf and human, who each incline their heads respectfully. Thank you so much for answering our request for help. We had nowhere else to turn. As long as you can pay, I can help. Under Tang's skin, glowing tattoos writhe and change shape. Tigers become cranes and move on to dragons. We're under threat, one by one. We elders are being hunted by some monster. As you may have noticed when you arrived, there's been another killing just tonight. Ip crosses his solid chrome arms. Holographic readouts dance constantly over their surface, displaying diagnostic information about their state, operating temperature, servo pressure, and a variety of other minutiae. He looks past you toward Isobel. The prodigal daughter returned once more. I didn't expect to see you back aboard the Wampoa in my lifetime, Isobel. When you disappeared, Elder Yetunde was very put out. I'm glad you're still alive. When you chose to walk your own path, I was disappointed, but I still understood why you had to leave. It pauses, tasting the air as he chooses his next words with care. I hope my lessons have helped you prosper. Didn't expect to be back either. Work takes you places, though. Isobel shrugs. A moment later, she places a hand on her pistol, eyes trained on Ip's shoes. I don't cart this around for fun, Ip. The lessons kept me alive. Isobel blinks several times and then looks up at Ng, her expression clouded. Where is Yatunde anyway? I expected her to be here. Ng shakes her head sadly. She reaches out a hand toward Isobel, who shrinks away from it. She's dead. So are Gan and Nakamura. And Tong was killed just tonight. So much blood. You have to stop this from continuing. Isobel's expression remains impassive, but her knuckles grow white as her hands ball up into fists. That's what we're here for. We'll stop the killings. Thank you, Isobel. Lifts a hand, wiping away tears from her eyes. What can you tell me about the murders? They started 2 weeks ago. The first to go was gone. We found him in his apartment, eviscerated. Ng swallows, grimacing at the painful memory. He'd been torn apart. His head had been ripped completely off, and most of his skin flayed away. There was so much blood, it took us a week to clean out his apartment. Tang nods, running his palm over his forehead. The rest have been the same. Always at night, always dismembered. Each scene is like a nightmare, and every time, nobody has seen anything. It's like a ghost. What happened to Tong? The same thing that happened to the rest of the victims: evisceration and dismemberment. We sent a guard to keep people out of his shop, but he'll let you in. When did he die? Sometime early tonight. He locked up his shop, but Ibs stopped by to ask him about some skill chips he had. The door was unlocked, and inside. Lifts her hand helplessly. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Seeing Ng's inability to continue, Ip takes over. Inside looked like a bad horror sim, just like all the other murders. It had to have happened after sundown, because I saw his shop was open when I was on my way to get some noodles for dinner. Why didn't you call the police? The Hong Kong police force isn't welcome here. They tried to force us out several times before, or come hunting for someone to pin a crime on. We do a lot of favors for local gangs and triads, handle their matrix security, fix up their gear, and make sure they have access to the Hong Kong Shadowlands hub. We're too valuable a resource for them to lose, so they protect us when the HKPF or anyone else decides we're an easy target. They handle our physical security, and we make sure to send the message via the Matrix. The last time the HKPF made trouble, we started airing the assistant chief's dirty laundry over the TRID. They got the picture and backed off. Have you made any enemies lately? Shrugs, helplessly. Not that I can think of. We keep to ourselves. We buy and sell technology. We're not mercenaries or criminals. We're merchants and deckers. And even if someone was cheated in a deal, this kind of response is unthinkable. Whatever did this, it wasn't human. The violence and savagery, it's a monster, whatever it is. Plenty of metahumans are monsters too, Ng. Just because it's horrible doesn't mean it's supernatural. What do the Wampoan elders do? Isobel snorts derisively. They make the rules and kick people out who don't obey them. They're a bunch of petty tyrants. That's what. You're being unfair, Isobel. Our laws are for the good of the community. Tang turns to address you. We keep the Wampoa and its residents safe. We review trade agreements with outsiders to see if they're good for the community. We provide a guiding vision, like a town council. I can respect that. I'm glad you understand. This community is fragile, and the authorities bear us a lot of ill will. A single misstep could spell our end. I am the invoker of sprites. I commune with the spirits of machines. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let me start over. I am the invoker of sprites. I commune with the spirits of machines, ask them for blessings, and pass those blessings on to the people here. I heal the sick and ensure the feng shui of our habitats is as good as it can be, given our confines. She's a shaman, that's all. She's just got some kooky spin on it. Claims her totem is some kind of all-encompassing machine god that lives in circuitry. Isobel pats her deck, looking at Ng. Ancient gods and ancestors are one thing. My deck? It's mine. I built it. The only spirits it's got in it are the ESPs I load up with it. Or I loaded up with. Gives Isobel a look of deep sadness. Just because you cannot see or touch a thing does not mean that it does not exist. Just because you do not believe in it does not mean it does not protect you from afar. I can't touch programs either, but at least I can prove they have an effect on the physical world. Your superstitions are just that. Bullshit. Isobel glances at you, jerking a thumb toward Tang. This guy treats drones like they're living things. What exactly do you do, Tang? Tang extends his arms, palms up. As you watch, the tattoos therein shift into a complex mathematical formula. I am the first and glorious servo. I study patterns, repair machinery, and teach others how to attune themselves to the wonders of automation. The blessed AutoFab is my shop in Purview, where we make the drones we use and sell. Really, what a fascinating and spiritual spin on things. Ractor inclines his head toward Tang. I'd be interested in hearing more about your philosophy once we're done with the job. I think I may find your perspective to be very interesting. As for me, I serve as the resplendent voltage spike. Ip smiles crookedly. That means I shoot people who try to screw with us. It's a fancy title for head of security. That's all for now. It might be wise to ask the residents of Wampoa Garden if they've seen or heard anything. After you've gone to Tong's Century Carnival, they may have seen or heard things we have not. Good to know. So let's start the investigation. Let's see who we're working with. Let's see who we're working with. Wait, can we get in here? We cannot get. Oh, we can't get in here. Cool. It's arcade. Yay! There's nothing in here though. So. Oh well. Can I talk to any? Can I buy some things? I'm poor though, so. I am broke. I'm a broke Shadowrunner. Isn't that funny? Porter Lamb at your service. The elders told me that you'd be coming. They tell you about what happened to Tong? Not really, no. Frankly, I'm not surprised. I don't even know if words can do it justice. You ever see what happens when a goat gets hit with a grenade? Messy, I expect. I was in vacation in Cambodia a couple years back. They still have mines from damn near 100 years ago out in the backwoods, right? Unstable as hell. Some of my friends out there got drunk and used hand grenades to set off clusters of them. Lob one out, take cover, watch two or three mines go up in smoke. Pretty clever, actually. Using explosives to clear mine. Using explosives to clear explosives, I mean. Well, one day I was out there with my friend Suan, and her brothers were working on clearing some mines. Narong lobs an airfoil grenade into an underbush, and a few seconds later, this goat comes bouncing over, looks at the bush, and says, "Ma." Porter mimes an explosion with his hands. We had goat stew for dinner the next night. That poor damn goat. What does this have to do with Elder Tong? I'll put it this way. Elder Tong and that goat, they're about the same consistency. Sheesh. Sheesh. Tong's Century Carnival looks like a scene out of a B-grade slasher sim. The cloying scent of incense hangs thick and pungent in the air, emanating from the small shrine in the corner of the shop. Unfortunately, it does nothing to cover up the reek of death and clotted blood. Despite the ragged remnants of Elder Tong littering the floor, the rest of the shop appears to be in good order, at least at first glance. Nothing is broken, tipped over, or otherwise ransacked. As you're about to step forward further into the room, you glance at the ceiling and walls. The blood from Tong's body isn't just confined to where his remains lie. Drying blood is spread about the walls and ceiling as well. Tong's body is a ruined mess. The destroyed ruin of his face is barely recognizable, and what is left of his body would best be described as savaged. All of his limbs have been torn off, and a pile of flayed skin lies next to the remnants of the Wampoan elder. The Wampoan's clothing has all but been reduced to rags and tissue by cuts and tears, apparently sustained during the flaying. At this point, the only thing holding what's left of his body into a semblance of human form is the hair-thin fiber optics of his cyberware. Isobel's face twists into a disgusted grimace, and she turns to look away. Looks like someone dropped them into an industrial meat grinder almost. Expect they brought the grinder with them. Or except they brought the grinder with them. Who the hell kills like this? Someone with highly evolved need for a ritual murder, I suspect. This manner of pathology is not seen in sane individuals. Riker gestures at the body impassively. Look, parts of him are missing. Curious. Have Ractor examine the body in detail. Ractor takes his time examining the body, taking small notes on his PDA. Curious. No subdermal bruising where the skin has been removed. No sign of a struggle. Coagulation of blood and lividity marks a time of death between 2 and 4 hours ago. The knife marks are methodical. The killer doesn't seem to have been interested in preserving the skin as any kind of whole. It was removed a bit like one fillets of fish, the path of least resistance. Some of these strips of skin have a more ragged edge than others. The ragged edge looks consistent with a claw rather than a blade. Ractor makes a curious noise as he examines the remnants of Tong's face and neck. His neck has been severed between fifth and sixth cervical vertebrae. Scoring across the bone indicates a bladed weapon, and a sharp one at that. Doesn't match any of the other wounds. Ractor stands and looks you directly in the eye. If I had to guess, I'd say he was killed with a blow to the back of the neck. Everything else was subsequent damage. Why would someone kill him and then skin him? Honestly, I have no idea. Perhaps whatever did the rest of the damage was secondary, an action of opportunity or the like. Without further information, I'm not comfortable guessing. The walls are covered in splattered and smeared blood, most of which has hardened into a crusty, congealed paste. Thick tracks of it run laterally. It looks like the blood has been deliberately smeared. Hey, Zero. I don't know a whole lot about science or all that, but I know what blood looks like when it hits a wall. This isn't natural. Somebody deliberately smeared blood all over the walls. See how it looks like it got paint trails? That's because someone used Tong's parts like a brush. So they painted his walls with blood. Why? Do I look like a psychologist to you? Maybe because they're a freak. Maybe they're one of those sick serial killers that sees their murders as art. I got no clue. All I know is what normal blood looks like on a wall, and this ain't it. Some people have a bad grasp of art. I knew this guy in Kwangtung who used to make music out of stray radio static and panic button calls. Called it Crisis Wave. It was awful. Tong's bathroom is immaculate, and the drains are tiny. Whatever killed him didn't exit through here. Tong's desk drawers are open, and the safe that's built into one side has been opened. There's no sign of tampering, and the green light next to the word unlocked is blinking. Whoever opened the safe did it with a key fob. Inside are several blank cred sticks, but no sign of any with money on them. A Wampoan elder with no money in his safe? My ass. Somebody cleaned him out. Probably grabbed the key fob out of his pocket. This is a Yamaha 95,000V SimSynth, a device for mixing and mastering SimSynth chips. Several drive bays are empty, and all the chip jacks are empty. The screen flashing a repeated error message. Warning, requested files cannot be found. Please return drives to bay and try again. Have Isobel debug the SimSynth. Isobel rattles out some commands on the SimSynth keyboard, stepping away after a few seconds with a look of satisfaction on her face. There. I've put the drive warning on suspend. It's in diagnostic mode only, though. Maybe we'll learn something. Maybe not. Yamaha Sim OS 5.23. System diagnostics check. Memory. Okay. Drive error. Assist bus. Okay. Beginning core dump. Please wait. Isobel studies the screen in details as letters and numbers scroll by. Looks like Tong was cooking some BTLs here. He's hacked the peak controller output cutoffs. The delta levels on sim chips are usually about 4 to 5, 6.5 for Cal Hots. His delta peaks are pushing 12. That's brain burning territory zero, and all the drives and chips those BTL were stored on are missing. I never liked Tong, but it wasn't because he was a bad guy. I just didn't like any of the elders. But if he was cooking chips at Delta 12, maybe he burned somebody he shouldn't have. Maybe they flipped their lid and came after him, or a relative did. Isobel gives you a serious look, tipping her head at the synth. The metahuman brain can't handle this kind of output. It'll shut down after a few of these. Oh, I don't know if we learned anything in particular. Let me see something here. Hey there, need some? What do you do around here, Porter? It's a catch and all. It's a catch-all category. I guess I work for Elder Ip. It's a bit like being a deputy. I make sure people don't break the rules. Protect people who need protecting. Mostly I just do whatever Ip asks me to. It's a pretty quiet job most days. Today, it's not one of those days. I also handle a lot of maintenance. I don't actually do the repairs, but I've got most of the keys. It makes it easy to ensure only authorized people get into sensitive places. Electricity goes down, I let in the electrician who fixes the wiring. Toilets clogged, I let in the drone guy who opens it back up. It looks like somebody went through Tong's things. Has anyone else been inside? Not since I've been here. But before Ep found him? Could have been anybody, really. Ep had a key to this place, but the lock's total crap. Anyone half decent at cracking maglocks could have gotten inside. What's missing? His BTLs, hard drive, and cred sticks are all missing. It sounds like a killer looted his place to me. All this talk of monsters, yeah, sure. There are scary things that go bump in the night, but most of those scary bumps I hear are from handguns and gangers. See you later. This orc is busily snacking on a steamed bun. As you approach, he wipes off one of his hands and sticks it out toward you. Hey, stranger, nice to meet you. Or nice to see you. Zippy toe tag at your service. How you liking Wampoa Garden? I'm Zero. Nice to meet you, Zippy. Nice to meet you too. Listen, I know it's a little forward of me to say hello and whatnot, but I'm interested in giving you a hand if I can. Zippy gestures expansively at the squalid neon lit streets of Wampoa Garden. This is my home, at least for the time being, and I'd like to stop these killings. We've never met before this, but I know exactly who you are. You're my replacement. The elders had me autopsy was left of Elder Gon and Elder Nakamura after they got ripped apart, but I didn't want to dig any deeper. So since I don't know you, and I can smell a Shadowrunner a mile away, you've got to be the outsider they asked to stop the killings, right? Zippy tilts his head back, obviously pleased at his amateur deduction. Very astute. That's right. See, I have good eyes. A lot of good eyes, actually. If you're in the market for replacements, only slightly used. And they only come from certified donors, I swear. A hearty belly laugh erupts from the orc, and he slaps one of his thighs in elation. Man, I killed myself. Pretty funny. You a stand up comedian? With jokes like that? You kidding me? I'm one of the only trained surgeons around here. I keep the other Wampoans healthy. Got a practice down the road. Blind Chin's a pretty good cyber doc, but he's basically an implant specialist, and that's it. How'd you end up here? I did my residency back at UCAS. Could have become a real MD too, if things hadn't gone south for unrelated reasons. Zippy opens his coat, revealing a cyber deck. He pats it proudly. I also deck a little, but I'm better at slicing skin than ice. Wampoa Garden seems a good fit for me. You must have a lot of customers. That's the chip truth. I have to charge to cover my costs and eat, but it's damn near free service. There's always a waiting list, but it's good, honest work. I like helping my neighbors in the community. We all look out for each other. Somebody messes with one of us, they mess with all of us. The kind of community is rare as gold these days. How many places have an ethos for like us? An ethos like us. Not a not the damn corpse. That's for sure. I've lived a lot of places, done my fair share of shadow running, but this place is special. It's been a long time since I really felt like anywhere was a real home. Zippy looks off past you, toward the Wampoa Gardens. His expression grows wistful, like he's remembering something from a long time ago. I'm sure I'll move again, but not for a while. I'm not done with this city or these people. So, it's fairly peaceful around here. For the most part, other than these killings, we don't have much by way of problems. We do information security for the triads, and that makes us fairly impervious to anyone who wants to start trouble. Anyone starts something, we hit them in the matrix while our triad friends hit them in the meat space. Some small time gangs have tried pushing in here before, but they backed off when they figured out they weren't just picking a fight with Tang and his guys, but with both the Red Dragon and the Yellow Lotus. They got the message real quick. What was left of them anyway. Let me ask you about Wampoa Garden. Sure thing. What do you want to know? What are your thoughts on the murders? There is a sharp intake of breath as Zippy shakes his head. Pretty gruesome business. Gon died from a broken neck. Looked like someone had wrenched it around and his arms and legs were cut off. Some skin flayed away too. Nakamura had his throat ripped out by someone with pretty sharp teeth. At first, I thought it was a devil rat, but the teeth marks were all from something with a humanoid jaw. I didn't look at Yatunde. From what I saw at a distance, it was the same story. Didn't seem much point, since I'd seen it twice already. As for Tong, from what Porter told me, it was a Gon and Nakamura all over again. You take a look at him yet? Yeah, it's the same as you described for the others. Zippy shakes his head sadly. Damn, I like Tong, but BTL business is unsavory. But the man had to eat, and his regular Sims were great. Generally all around nice guy, friendly with everyone, never had anyone mad at him. There ain't no justice, let me tell you. What can you tell me about the elders? Zippy laughs, shrugging. Well, they're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. Where to start? Ng's a spiritual leader here. She's the voice of the Wampoans, I guess. A lot of her close friends are really more of followers since she's something of a priest for the machine spirits. Maybe it's a cultural thing for people who grew up here, but it's never called to me. Still, she makes a damn fine pot of tea. Ip's the muscle and has an encyclopedic knowledge of cyber and bioware. Definitely a good guy to have watching your back. Not too friendly, but you know how it is. You get a lot of cyber, people start wondering if you'll tear their arms off. Sippy makes a chopping gesture with one hand. He's got moves straight out of Blood Carnival 3, The Reckoning. Terrible movie, but great fight choreography. What about Tang? I don't know much about him, but I think he's got some kind of fetish for automation. Found him cooing over some trids of automated delivery drones in a warehouse once. He works with drones, has a shop called the Blessed Autofab. He was raving about the efficiency of the movement patterns or something. You already know about Tong, Ran Sims, BTLs, skill chips. Gon used to be a city planner before he had a nervous breakdown and got involved in statistical analysis. Zippy pauses to collect his thoughts. Nakamura came from Fukuoka and was interested in entertainment, trade mostly, spent a lot of time analyzing subliminals and ads. Then there was Magpie. She was the chief decker, hot as hell against ice, but built her own hardware. Salty old woman, though. Never met anyone who was quite as shrill or nasty as she was at, or nasty when she was mad. She was mad most of the time. Tell me more about her. Not much to tell, really. Zippy shrugs non-committedly. Maybe a month ago, she just up and disappeared. I went to her shop one day and she just wasn't open. Nobody's seen her since. Why would she disappear? No idea. One day she was here, the next, poof. At first, I thought she was just on vacation, since she had mentioned wanting to see the Kingdom of Hawaii someday, but it didn't feel right. She should have at least told me she was leaving. It seems mighty suspicious to me. Nobody else seems to care what happened to her, probably because she pissed them all off so bad. A little odd for her to just disappear, don't you think? Of course it's odd. She owed me lunch too, and she was the sort who paid her debts promptly. You might want to check out her shop. It's all locked up, but the elders have a spare key. Couldn't hurt to look around. And even though Magpie was butting heads with the other elders, they wouldn't have any reason not to let you in. What do you mean they were butting heads? Magpie and the others never saw eye to eye. She was contrary for the sake of it. Most of the rest had a grand vision for what they wanted this neighborhood to become. Magpie just wanted a deck. She was only an elder because they needed someone with her matrix chops. The last big argument between her, Ip, and Nakamura. It was over something relatively trivial. I think Nakamura wanted to expand the pirate trade business into the Matrix, and she absolutely refused. She sounds like she didn't care for entertainment, taking precedence over business. That's exactly it. She gave Nakamura an earful, let me tell you. She said something about not using up valuable bandwidth for trivial entertainment bullshit. Anyway, it went from there into this rant about how she wasn't gonna let Tang expand his drone business any further because it would get too much megacorp attention. They accuse her of blocking them just because she could, which is probably true. Lots of screaming. What do you mean blocking them? Everybody needs her matrix skills for their business to run properly. There are other deckers, me, say, or Mo Jinebi, Mo Jinbei, but she had the infrastructure. If their project didn't interest her, she wouldn't even give them the time of day. She's a real hardhead about having time wasted, but she figures if she's not interested in something, it has no value objectively. Kind of a major blind spot, if you ask me. Could you let me into her shop? No can do. Not because I don't want to, but because I just don't have the key. You'd have to get it from Ip. He's taken over all the Matrix infrastructure maintenance since Magpie disappeared. He's not as good as he's not as good at it as she is, or as I am, but they're not gonna let anyone who isn't an elder take care of that kind of critical stuff. It looks like Tong was killed by a blade, not a broken neck or a bite. Zippy recoils, shuddering against the rain. What kind of blade? Was it a knife, a sword, maybe an axe? I don't know. But he was attacked at the back of the neck. I don't like that at all. Zippy shivers, looking warily around. This whole affair's got me on edge. People dying is nothing new, but the flayed skin, ugh. After a moment, Zippy composes himself and looks back to you. It sounds possible that whoever's been killing the elders is trying to muddy the waters with all the blood and gore business. This is the crime of an intelligent, careful killer. Be careful. This investigation might take you somewhere very unpleasant. See you later, Zippy. Hey there, need something else? Hey there, need something else? What can you tell me about Elder Magpie? The Wampoan snorts, shrugging his shoulders. That she was a bitch? That I've never met anyone as deliberately contrary as her? There's not much to say. Nobody wanted to hang out with Magpie. Even though she was the newest elder, she acted high and mighty around everyone else. She'd block deals and argue against Nakamura and just because she could. Why was she so contrary? It was just her nature. She loved fights and gossip. Any chance to cut somebody else down, she'd take it. I guess I always figured she had some deep-seated insecurities and covered it up by attacking other people. See you later. So let's see if we got anything else around here. Oh shit. This man has a tired, world-weary demeanor about him. His eyes track your movements with a penetrating, critical precision. Something about him, the lines about his eyes, perhaps makes you suspect he's seen a lot of terrible things happen. He lifts his cup of cheap soy calf as you approach. Let me guess. You're the freelancers the Elder are paying to look into the murders around here. That's right. Who are you? Call me Demergo. I'm one of the Wampoans, but I've been here long enough that they didn't think twice about me being here. Demergo drains the last of his soy cap in a large gulp. So what have you found so far? What's it to you? Professional curiosity. I used to be with the New York Police Department as part of the Thaumaturgical Research Division. Part of the CSI branch, except I did magical investigation while the other guys pulled prints and checked blood samples. Domergo tosses the soy calf cup toward the nearby garbage can. It bounces around the rim and rolls inside. When I hear about shit like this happening, I keep my ear to the ground. Old habits, you know. So why aren't you investigating it? Elder asked me to look in killings after the first murder. She couldn't afford my fee though, so I took a pass. It's not just money either. Demirgo shudders, folding his arms across his chest. You see that stuff day after day. You pay a price. It eats away at you. You know what it's like to feel all that sickness and anger every day? To be asked to pick up a murder weapon and relive somebody's death? Feel it going into your neck? Pleading in the voice of a dead woman for a killer to spare you? These days, I'd rather interrogate the living. Thanks. What are you talking about? I can read objects. It's called psychometry. A little trick I managed to pick up. Don't really know how. I hold something. I can tell you what happened to it, who owned it, how it killed someone, if someone loved it, or was afraid of it. Useful, but it'll tax your heart. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to read anything you find. I already told Ng I didn't want any part of this. You want advice, I'll give you that, but I'm not getting drawn in further than that. So aside from that, is there anything I can help you with? What do you know about the murders? They started a couple of weeks ago. Elder Gan was the first to go, and when Ng asked if I could look into them, he was ripped apart. Arms wrenched out of their sockets, skin flayed away with a razor-sharp knife. The rest have been the same. Whatever did it sure didn't care about being a clean death. Demergo lowers his voice, leaning in toward you so that only you can hear. The funny thing is, the Hong Kong police force was out here a few weeks before that. Maybe a month ago, tops. I know that doesn't seem like much, but the Wampoans don't usually let the police in here. That by itself is odd enough, but it gets even stranger. The officers were loaded for bear, too big. For bear, too. Big guns and heavy armor with NBC seals. The works. They went into the parking garage near here, and there was some kind of gunfight. Never made it back out. When backup showed up, the Wampoans chased them away. Why would they let cops in and chase them away? That's exactly the kind of question you should be asking. And that the elders refused to answer when I asked. Demergo shrugs. Go take a look for yourself if you want. Watch out, though. A gang's taking up residence in there, dealing drugs and BTLs. They call themselves the Red Spear. Not too violent if you don't push them, but be careful what you say. What can you tell me about the Wampoans? I don't know much. Even though I've been here almost 2 years, I'm an outsider. They don't really accept anyone who's not as much of a tech nut as they are. I'm just a crazy maze that lives down the road. Demergo pauses and looks off into the distance as he collects his thoughts. Ip's got some heavy-duty cyberware, basically an enforcer for the rest of the council. He doesn't seem to set much policy. Ng is a shaman that worships machine spirits. It's all a bunch of hokum, if you ask me. Magic is magic. Whatever you want to call the source is fine by me. But don't ask me to believe in the great spirit of electronics. As for everybody else, they tend to be okay with a bunch. A bit strange, but that's fringe culture for you. They scrounge tech, rebuild it, and sell it off. Some of them even have their own auto fab shops. Their stuff's pretty high quality too. People from all over Asia come to shop here if they need something rare or unusual. Tight-knit little community, all things considered. Tong was killed by a bladed weapon, a single strike to the base of his neck. That's a precision attack. You are French, Clutu? Okay. Oh, you are French culture? Okay. That's a precision attack. Man, most knife fights end up with a lot of shallow cuts and blood over the victim and attacker alike. If Tong was killed by a single strike, he definitely wouldn't have seen it coming. You can bet your last new yen that whoever killed him is a highly skilled with a blade. Moo? Okay, Chum Chum. That says to me that the attack is either a professional hitman or a practiced serial killer. It could be both, too. Assassins don't tend to be the most empathetic people. Demirgo considers this information for a moment before speaking again. Was the attack a thrust or a cut? It was a slash. Why? If the wound was a thrust, your attacker was using a knife of some kind. Anything over about 10 inches would be pretty hard to thrust with that kind of an angle. The neck's too high for a longer blade. If it's a slash, you're looking at a sword or a cleaver attack. Both of those are popular with the triads. They make an awful mess and send a message that they're not to be trifled with. See you later. This dumpy looking man is busily hawking a variety of grilled spherical treats of various sizes. Some are sold individually, some are skewered on sticks, and some are packaged up in sets of 4 or 6. A sign on the front of the cart reads, Keita's 1 yen yatai. A cacophony of small trid screens are attached to the cart. Each play a different trid show. Interest you in some dango, takoyaki, maybe a nice nikuman? That's a pork bun with a Japanese twist. Any kind of tasty Japanese treat you can imagine, I've got it. Maybe some curry fish balls are your speed. Keita will give you your heart's desire, providing that desire is on my menu. Let me have some dango. Your wish is my command, good sir. Keita deftly pulls one of the dango sticks out of the cart and drops it onto the grill. A small robotic arm slides out from the cart and begins turning the stick until the balls of rice flour are a toasted brown color. Lifting them from the grill, Keita dips the entire stick in a tub of sticky brown sauce before handing it to you. The snack has both a sweet and salty flavor, reminiscent of sesame seeds and soy. The balls inside are pleasantly warm and surprisingly chewy, a bit like eating raw dough, but with the attendant chalky taste. But without the attendant chalky taste. Keita leans back, studying you intently. The trid projections from his cart cause his face to be lit in a constantly shifting array of rainbow hues. So what brings you to Whampoa Garden, my friend? Somehow, I thought it's just a street food. I'm looking into the killing of the Whampoan elders. Keita shivers, wrapping his arms around his body. I've been hearing a lot about that. Haven't looked too closely, though. It's just none of my business, you know? What can you tell me about the people here? We're tech heads, deckers, riggers, trip pirates, and everything in between. If I had to define this place, I'd say it's Asia's Mecca for people like us. As for the others, I can give you the basics. I'm a small fry, so we're not exactly on the social terms. Some kind of crazy tech witch. She summons her spirits, casts spells, works as the spiritual center of the tribe. She a lot craftier than she seems to. She has this method to everyone act going on, but I watch her manipulate people into doing all kind of stuff they wouldn't normally do, and they thought it was their idea the whole time. Magically, you mean? No, I don't think so. She's just really good with people. Ipsa killer, addicted to cybernetic implant. He always has to have the newest and fresher gear. The funny thing is, I never see him fight. I kinda get the impression he a coward. He'd rather let one of his buddies handle a problem than do it himself. All I know about Tang is he loves thrones and does a little ducking. Frankly, I find him kind of boring. All he talks about is neural networks, dark knowledge, and the evolution of machine learning. Like I said, boring. What's with all the trid screens? Keita beams and gestures excitedly at them. Oh, you like them? I love trid operas. Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indonesian, it doesn't matter. This way I can watch all my favorite shows without missing a beat, and I can work at the same time. Piloted treats is my other business. I read the steams in the Matrix, tap right into corporate feeds, and resell them on cheap out here. Keita's face falls a bit, and his enthusiasm wanes. I wish I could pay the bills, but my food costs a lot better than that. I don't know why, but most of the other Wampons seem to like Sim over trade. They don't know what they're missing, though. One episode, 1,000 cranes of autumn, and they be hooked for life. I'm just at the part where Orin has confessed her love to Takayama, but he's got to get his mech suit out to the front lines on Mars, so he cannot be with her. Downright heartbreaking, I tell you. That sounds like an interesting show, all right. Eyes twinkling, Keita leans forward in breathless excitement. Oh, you have no idea! 312 episodes chronicling a noble mech pilot and a tumultuous love affair he has with a space station governor's daughter. The pathos, the majesty, the Battle of Lagrange one spans 5 episodes just by itself. For some reason, I guess I just didn't resonate with the wider public. I don't know why. Who doesn't want to see a thrill show about giant flying robots, love betrayal, and spies? I've got to stop myself before I get carried away. Was there something else you needed? You got any thoughts on the murders? Yeah, ignore them. Keita shrugs indifferently. I saw the crowd down at Tong Sensory Carnival earlier tonight, but I didn't know the guy very well. I'm a trade fan. He liked The Sims. Not a lot of crossover between us. See you later, Keita. See, I said, oh shit, was because I did not see all of this. You better find some place indoors to sleep, Jan. The streets are dangerous lately. An imposing troll stands in front of a stall overflowing with weapons of all sorts. Pistols, rifles, and even brass knuckles overflow the rug around him. Oh, there. You look like a man who understands the value of self-defense. Breaker Hugh at your service. Or Hui at your service. And I can promise you, I can help you defend yourself. What do you say? Want to take a look? I'm more interested in information. Yeah, tell me what you want. Maybe I can help you out. Know anything about the murders? Just that the elders have been getting hacked apart. I tried to stay away from it all. No sense painting the crosshairs on my own forehead, right? The troll shrugs indifferently. I'm nobody important, and I aim to keep it that way. Yeah, let me go get some water, guys. I got water here, so let me grab it. I'm gonna turn on my light too. It's getting dark in here. Okay, I'm back. What are your impressions of the Wampoan elders? Can't say I associate much with them. They organize big trade deals with the Loho Jaw pirates, the Triads, and legitimate businesses. They tell us if somebody's been blacklisted and dispense justice when someone breaks the rules. Beyond that, they leave us alone, and I leave them alone. I'm just not important enough to register on their radar. You know anything about Elder Magpie? Never met her, thank God. She ran with Deckers mostly, since she dealt in chips and software. I heard she was hard at work. I heard she was hard to work with. I think the phrase I overheard was that she shrieked like a harpy with a fresh corpse. I don't know. You should ask Zippy, though. He's a sharp one with a dick, so we know her better than most. Aside from Tong, who slips the BTLs around here. The Red Spear Gang. They run up in here sometimes, but don't cause any trouble. Check out the parking garage south of here, though. They usually hole up in there. Step light, though. If they don't know you and you cop an attitude, they'll put you in the ground. Funny thing, I heard there was a shootout with some Hong Kong police in the garage a month ago. I was away in Beijing at the time, so I didn't see it directly, but everybody was talking about it when I got back. Why is that funny? Because we don't let the HKPF in here, most times. We shoot at them if they try. Every time they come in here, it's bad for us, because they're always looking for a scapegoat. Why would the elders let them in? Nobody knows. See you later. So let's see what he got. He got a bunch of just crap. Yeah. The man in front of this stall is rooting through a box of music chips with the swift fingers of someone who knows what they're looking for. Behind him, a music player pumps out a constant stream of distorted, atonal music. The stall's proprietor is nowhere to be seen. Can you believe this? They got tour bootlegs of Echelon 60, the unreleased Enoch Ian Keys double chip show from Brazzaville, but absolutely zero chips from Shotgun Boom. This stall stuff is purely second rate. You're right. That does suck. Shotgun Bloom's one of the best bands I've heard in years. Easy. The music aficionado nods enthusiastically. See, your friend gets it. Real talent, that crew. Like nothing I've ever heard before. The Decker inclines his head politely toward you. Mo Jinbei, at your service. Decker, technologist, music fan. You're not from around here, are you? I don't hold yourself. You don't hold yourself like a native. I'm from the UCAS. Mo runs a hand through his hair, shaking the collected rain off it. I thought so. What brings you out here? I'm trying to find out who's been killing the elders. The Decker pauses a moment, face falling. Oh, that's a nasty business. I heard Tong died tonight. I don't know who or what they pissed off, but it seems like a really bad scene. I'm trying to keep my nose out of it. Still, I like this place. Is there anything I can do to help? Know anything about the murders? I'm trying to stay as far away from it as possible. I'm not connected enough to hear anything important. And all the talk about monsters is just plain dark. I'm not afraid of monsters, but I don't want to get their attention. All I know is that a couple of months ago, we had Elders Nakamura, Yatunde, Gon, and Magpie, and now we don't. I've heard about Magpie. Sounds like she was kind of vicious. To be blunt, she's a hateful, shrewish old badger of a person. It was always her way or the highway. She'd butt heads with the other elders over damn near anything. The last fight she had was with Tang over something or other. I guess she ended up throwing some of his micro drones into a deep fryer and threatening to kick his ass around the block. What was her line of business? Matrix gear. Her shop's called the Jackpot. Not very imaginative, I know. She always had the hottest programs, best chips, and made some other killer decks for anybody willing to pay her rates. It cost plenty of new yen, but she was one of the best in the business, at least in Hong Kong. If you want to know more about her, you should talk to Zippy. He's one of the only people around here who got along with Magpie. You can probably find him by the MTR station. He loves the steam bun cart over here. What can you tell me about the Wampoans? We're a collection of freaks, geeks, nerds, and tech junkies. This place may look like a third world bazaar, but believe me, we have stuff here that's cutting edge in almost every field. Mo swells with pride and plants both hands firmly on his hips. Maybe it's not as advanced as the stuff the megas have in their development labs, but it's as advanced as anything you can find in a store. People come from all over the world to buy and sell here, and work out deals for big shipments. We've got contacts with every pirate and smuggling group in the South China Sea, and every major syndicate and gang in the Free Enterprise Zone knows not to mess with us. Not only are there a lot of us, nobody wants to lose what we're selling. The Red Dragons made a play 4 years ago, but we chased them out. Mo gestures with both hands as if he's shooing away a bothersome insect. Scooted off back to Ho Man Tin, and they've never been back. Good for you. That's how you survive. It's all about playing the angles. Yeah, it pissed them off, but then we sold goods to the Yellow Lotus at a discount. In exchange, the Yellow Lotus kept them off our back. You don't have to beat up the big guy to win. You just have to make him step back so the other big guys see he's off balance. Standout fights are for the megas. We're about survival, just like everybody else in the shadows. What's your area of expertise? I'm a decker. I used to be a company man for years, pushing code on their servers, smearing the little cyber pukes that would try to get into our secure systems. I made a pretty good living. Had my own place on the 48th floor in a corporate skyscraper. It was the kind of thing the Sims teach you everybody reaches for. The dream life. So what went wrong? I found out the company wasn't what I thought it was. Sure, they paid me well and kept me in creature comforts, but I accidentally looked over some misfiled reports while cleaning out a company data store. Turns out one of the company security riggers had gotten drunk and blabbed about some project or other being over budget and behind schedule. That's not good. It'd be a fireable offense, right? Mo purses his lips, his gaze going distant for a moment. Well, I guess upper management was worried that info would hurt their stock ratings by a fraction of a point or two. So they fired the guy with a 308 round, right through the skull. You should have known that's how the corporations handle problems. Well, I sure as hell know it now. You get a wake up call like that, it'll really open your eyes. It may only have been a fraction of a point, but that was still tens of millions of new yen. I guess that went beyond a firing offense, directly into murder territory. What's worse, since I knew about both the project and the murder, I could be next in the firing line. I knew I wasn't worth the expense to hunt down, as long as I kept my head down. So I came out here, looking for like-minded deckers. I guess I ended up staying because I could get a semblance of community out here, and I couldn't get that many other places. See you later, Mo. All right, so we got some stuff. We got some info. We're uncovering little by little. So Zippy, I already got all the information out of him. My objectives, optional, get the key to Magpie Shop, search for the killer in Wampora Garden, find out what the Red Spear gangers know. Okay. So the next place to go to is the garage. Let me make sure I've covered all my bases before I go in there. Okay. That's far enough, guy. The woman hefts her weapon, tossing a nod toward the gangers behind her. This lot's our turf. If you're looking for a fix, you're welcome to trade. If you're not here for business, clear the hell out. You try to wander around on our turf, we're gonna have to air you out. So what do you say? You looking for a little pick-me-up, a little nitro to give you some pep? Maybe you want some chips, take the edge off. You want it? I got it. Can I look around this garage? Man, are you deaf? What the hell did I tell you? No, you goddamn well can't wander around our turf. The ganger shakes her head, mumbling something about idiots with no memory. Never mind. What happened in the fight here? As far as I know, some police showed up looking for somebody. They got in here. All of them got killed. Whoever they were after was long gone by the time we showed up. Used to be a lot of Wampoans living here. They all cleared out, muttering about ghosts and shit like that. Have you heard anything else about the murders? Nothing much. I'll tell you what, though. I got a guy named Kang. And he was down the storm drain system last week. Something was moving down there. Big, too. Man-sized. But it wasn't speaking any language Kang understood. Kid beat feet back here as fast as he could. Dumbass dropped his storm drain key on the way out, though. You want to go looking for whatever it was, you have to get a new key from somebody else. Kang stole his from a city worker. Who else might have a key to the storm drains? There's a guy named Porter Lamb who's got keys to pretty much everything. He's somewhere between a cop and a handyman. UN also mentioned some elf woman with crazy colored hair who managed to scam a key. He says she hunted paracritters down there. Devil rats and shit. Some of these BTLs you're selling look an awful lot like they came from Tong's shop. Yeah, so what? Why do you care? So if you stole these from Tongs, maybe you saw something I can use in my investigation. Yeah, I guess that's fair. It's like this. Broken Thumb Ewan was walking down the street and sees this guy going to Tong's joint right at closing time. Tall guy hunched over, had this shitty gray rain poncho draped over him. Now, Yuen figured that was weird as hell, so he posts up and waits. He figures the guy'll come out soon, 'cause Tong's closing up shop. Nothing for 15 whole minutes. Guy comes out, hustles down the street with nobody saying boo. I figured he was waiting for an ebb in the crowds. Yuen sees some blood smeared on the door, though, so he goes to check it out. Inside, total carnage. But you know what? Tom's not going to be using his gear anymore. So to hell with it. Yuen jacks the lot of it. That's pretty cold. So sleeping in the street, or going hungry, or selling BTLs. It's the life we've got, and that's the way it is. Anything else? Alright, I want to attack them. How do I pull my guns out? Let me see the controls real quick. They don't have a control, okay. Okay. It's a lot of guys. But it's okay. Because we got the squad. Nowhere to really take cover. Alright, where's Ractor? Okay, Ractor. Yeah, reason why wait a minute, what did I just do? Oh my god, okay. Let's go and kill this dude over here. Where am I at? I don't know why that's not cover. Duncan, where you gonna go, my boy? Dunk. I don't know where to go. There's not really anywhere to go. Let's just run behind this van. Oh, that hurt. That hurt. So they got 7 guys. Okay, let me heal up, man, because I am hurt. Okay. Yeah, last turn I ended up pulling the plug on accident on Koshé. Bro, I'm about to show you what's up, bro. You got me screwed. You got me effed up, my guy. Hold on, let me get Dunk. Man, kill his ass, man. Get his ass up out of here, bro. Alright, we can move now. Alright, Isobel, let's move up. Hell yeah. A small PDA sits on the table, the dull glow of the screen illuminating the surface around it. It does not appear to be locked. Check recent email. Nadir OS 3.11. Email client. Please select the file. New location in garage. Wilson, we've got the go-ahead from the Wampoan elders to move into the parking garage. Whatever fight happened there has really spooked the locals, and they're superstitious about moving back into a place that could be filled with angry ghosts. It's a bunch of bull, but whatever. The bottom line is, we have a new place to set up shop. Their only requests are that we pay a percentage of our sales back to them, and we keep anyone nosy out of our turf. Works for me. Where the heck is Kang? I don't know where Kang is. Last I heard from him, he was checking out the storm drains, looking for a place to use as a drop so we wouldn't have to stash all the chips up here in the garage. When he came back up, he said something about seeing a monster down there. He described it as a man-sized but covered in gore and speaking some kind of monster language. He was so spooked he dropped his key to the drains on his way out. Total idiot. So I told him to take a few days off. If you're still looking for him, check his flat in San Pol Kong. He's probably drunk off his ass or something. Elder murders. I don't know if any of you have heard about the way the elders have been getting picked off one by one, but stay out of it. They've been nice enough to let us set up shop here, but their business isn't our business. If anyone asks you to look into it, tell them to talk to me. I don't want to get mixed up in whatever politics are ripping those crazy tech junkies apart. The only good thing to come out of all this is that we picked up Tong's BTL stash earlier tonight. You went and saw somebody go into Tong's shop right before closing time, and when he came out, the door was unlocked. Tong was ripped apart. Maybe he was the killer. Maybe he was just picking the place over like we did. Either way, let me say it again for you boneheads. Stay out of it. So we got some info there. Okay. Let's see what else is in here. A bloody drain. Dry blood and clots clog the drain. As you look closer, however, something catches your eye. An off-red color that doesn't match the hues of the gore around the drain. Bending closer, it appears to be a small nugget of some kind. The nugget, upon closer inspection, is a chunk of some kind of synthetic ferroplastic. It's got ragged edges as if it was broken off a larger object. A number of small markings are partially obscured by scratches. Examine the markings more closely. Brushing away some of the dust, you peer at the fragmentary bit of ferroplastic. The scratches and marking on the nugget look like Chinese, but despite how closely you look, you can't decipher their meaning. After a moment, you realize the reason. Not only are the markings fragmentary, the language is actually Japanese. The characters are close enough to be familiar, but too different for you to read. Maybe an expert in armor or foreign languages could help. You know, I'm not sure who in Wampoa Gardens speaks Japanese, but Wing K Kwok has a shop down in the Wampoa itself, where we met by the elders. If anyone around here would know about armor, it would be her. Dry blood and bullet holes pockmarked the floors, pillars, and walls of the parking garage. Judging by the amount of blood staining the floor, multiple people died here. To call the scene bloody would be to do a disservice. It was a massacre of tremendous proportions. Look at this, Zero. Duncan points to several scratches on the floor and in the pillar. These scratches look like they were from a long-bladed weapon like a sword or machete. That matches the wound on Tong's neck. Our killer must have fought the HKPF in here and cut them apart. With the number of bullet holes in the walls and cars around here, they must have just been spraying wildly. Duncan checks the chamber on his assault rifle. I'll tell you what, I don't want to have to fight this maniac at close range. Interesting. Hey again, any new developments? You need my help? Domingo's got himself a new cup of soy calf. He must run on that stuff. As you approach, he lifts it in salute. Whoever fought the police in the garage did it at close range with a blade. That's definitely unusual. There are a lot of people in Hong Kong who can fight with a blade, but not many of them could take on 4 police officers and win. That's a losing fight even for the best gangers out there. Whoever you're looking for, they're no common killer. Sounds like your killer is the same one the police fought. That's certain. That's certain. There's nobody around here that could go toe to toe with 4 HKPF heavies at close range and come out on top. At least not any with a penchant for blades. You find whoever's good with a sword and has a grudge against the elders, you've got your killer. See you later. Welcome back to Keta One's Yen to Keta's One Yen Yak Tai. What can I do for you? Hey, can you tell me anything about this piece of armor? Keta shoots you a quizzical look. I own a street food cart. What makes you think I know anything about armor? Is it made of rice flour or something? I was hoping you could translate some Japanese on it. Oh, in that case, I actually can't help you. Let me see. He turns the chunk of armor over in his hands, peering at it closely. After a moment, he hands it back. It says Renraku Kagu Kabushiki Kaisha. It's the Japanese name for Renraku Applied Sciences, the materials research branch of Renraku Asia. What the hell did you get this anyway? I think it came from the person killing the Wampon elders. Kate's expressions turned dubious. I don't know much about the Megas, but this seems like some pretty rare armor to find on a serial killer. I don't think off of the shelf armor has this research mark and seems pretty high quality. Quality? You have been well connected to get something like this. See you later, Kate. All right. Hey there. Need something else? Do you have a key to the storm drainage system? Sure, why do you ask? Drop a gun down a grate or something? Following up a lead on the killer. In that case, take the damn key. You'll have to forgive me if I don't want to go down there with you. Porter peels an antique Yale-style key off a key ring and hands it to you. Knock yourself out, man. There's an entrance up by the Jade Mountain restaurant. Can't miss it. See you later. The owner of the shop barely looks from his PDA while greeting you. His tone is one of immense boredom. Welcome to Min Vong Matrix Materials, aka MVMM. What can I get you? What do you have? Nothing. Nothing. It's drones. Yeah, it's just garbage. 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 Wing K Kwok. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Kwok Atelier, home of the finest clothing in Whampoa Garden. I'm the owner, Master Tailor Wing K Kwok. How may I serve you today? Show me what you have. So let's see what we got here. Last gen lined coat. Oh, yeah, it's 3 armor, so all this shit is crap. Ballistic cloth suit. Don't need that. Okay. I didn't expect Wamboa Garden to have a tailor's in it. Many people don't. There's a mistaken impression that we Wampoans are only interested in technology in the Matrix. But even technologists need clothing, don't they? And many of us gravitate toward lines of work where added protection is required. I myself am a material scientist, as well as a keen follower of fashion trends. What kind of material science? Fiber related, of course, primarily aramid fibers, graphene composites, and dilatants. It affords me a certain unique perspective when designing clothing that is not only beautiful but defensive as well. I specialize in high fashion body armor, similar to the kind crafted by SecureTech or Vashon Island, but with a much more personal touch. Do you know what kind of armor this piece is from? Perhaps. Let me see it, and I'll tell you what I can find out. Wing Hei holds the armor piece up to her eye, taking out a jeweler's loop to look at it more closely. Hmm, Japanese markings. I don't recognize all of them, but the first one is Renraku, fairly recognizable to anyone who's used to seeing the name in Hanzai. The composition appears to be high-density ferroceramics, probably boron carbide with an interwoven bioaramid mesh. The staining on the edges suggests it contained pockets of silica suspended in polyethylene glycol, similar to the commercially sold gel pack technology. This armor could have withstood a significant amount of impact force. Even standard 7.62 millimeter rounds wouldn't have much of a chance of penetrating it. What could penetrate it? High velocity rounds with a tungsten carbide penetrator would be the most common. This is the kind of thing armor piercing discarding sabot rounds were designed to defeat. A dicoted melee weapon could do it as well, but there wouldn't be the kind of splintering at the edge. Same case with EX explosive rounds. We'd see spalling on the backside. Wing Hei hands the armor piece back to you. Whoever shot this off the owner came loaded with the right kind of weaponry to get the job done, that's for certain. And you don't carry that kind of ordnance around unless you're sure of what you're facing. It's just too expensive for common carry. Goodbye. Alright, so we got the key to the source, so let's go ahead and check it out. Storm drains. As you round the corner, you hear voices speaking just loudly enough for you to make out coherent sentences. The speakers are definitively not local. They speak with a slight Slavic accent, and their clothing is heavily armored. Around them are a number of crates and boxes, all mostly filled. It looks like the group is packing up. Yaroslav says the boat will be ready tomorrow morning. He's gotten everything arranged with the port authority. We've moved the goods to his warehouse. He'll handle loading them onto the ship, and we can get paid right then and there. The orc spits on the ground. I'll be glad to be done with this filthy place. I will too. I hate having to hide in these damn drains. It stinks down here. I can hear the devil rats running down the walkways. It's a mess, and it's disgraceful. We shouldn't have put up with this bullshit. And Alexander still isn't back from his little trip. We'll have to leave him behind if he doesn't get back soon. I know, Galena. Until Audrey says we're in the clear from the triads, we can't be seen with the goods on the street. They find us, we go back to Vladivostok and sausage casings. Those Red Dragon Mudaki don't screw around when it comes to protecting their turf. Who knows? Maybe Alexander was stupid and they caught him. Either way, we'll have to lug this crap through the drains for a few kicks. The orc woman sniffs the air suspiciously, and her eyes dart toward the dark tunnel you stand in. Before you have a chance to get out of sight, she locks eyes with you. The orc lifts her chin as she regards you, cracking her knuckles. What have we here? A curious little pest, come looking for things that don't concern him. What do we do with pests, Galena? Galena puts her hands on her shotgun barrel. We break them, Vasilisa. And when we hammer a spike through each of their throats, so anyone who sees their bodies knows not to meddle in our affairs. I suggest you stay where you are, pest. I'm not here to meddle in anything. I'm just looking for a serial killer. Well, you found some, friend. Us. You think you can just walk out here after finding us? Think again. Hope and goodwill. Vasilisa snorts derisively. You're an idiot. Kill him. Okay. Looks like we're in for a fight. And these guys are strong. I can already tell. Ractor, I'm going to need you to set up a crochet right now. Dunk, you should get in here, my boy. Oh, you just standing there, you dumb hoe. Yeah. Like I said. Alright, Ractor, we'll have you go over here. Damn. Hell yeah. Dunk, I'm gonna have you move up a little bit, my boy. Actually not, because he's flanked. Alright, I think now's my chance to strike. Nah, not yet. Okay, Koche, do your stuff. Dunk, get up in there. Oh, this guy doesn't know what to do. That guy doesn't know what to do. A small PDA sits on the table, the dull glow of the screen illuminating the surface around it. It does not appear to be locked. Sitting next to the PDA is an unmarked keycard of some kind. Check the recent email. Nadir OS 3.11 email client. Please select the file. Get ready to move. Vasilisa, we've got a window for the shipment. We're going to have to get to the harbor in the next few hours. Tell Galena and the others to pack up everything you've got and get ready to haul it through the storm drains toward the meeting spot. We can't afford to miss this opportunity. Yaroslav. R.E. Respond. Get ready to move. Hey, Yaroslav. Alexander's still not back from his scouting trip yet. He said he found a stockroom behind Miss Yang's Jade Mountain restaurant. There was also a bunch of key cards for it. Belonged to some woman named Magpie. He's out through it now. We can't just leave him behind. Can't you delay this hand off a few more hours, Vasilisa? You grab the key card from the table. A hidden stockroom might be worth investigating. Can't delay. No, Vasilisa, I can't delay the handoff. The ship will leave when it leaves. If Alexander's not back in time to make it, it's his own damn fault. Now get your crew in high gear and make sure we've got the goods by the time things are set, Yaroslav. Alright, well, let's see what else is down here. Maybe we'll find something interesting. Despite the darkness, you see something glimmer at the edge of the drain. Looking closer, it appears to be a necklace chain of some kind. It's become caught in the drain's grate, narrowly avoiding falling down the deep pit. Lifting the necklace out of the drain, you turn it over in your hand. It's a simple silver pendant on a chain. The silver pendant depicts a long-tailed bird in flight, a magpie. Magpie. Interesting. Uh-huh. I see they've been doing some things around these ports. The disgusting pile of stinking human remains smells strongly of blood and the first stages of decay. The arms, legs, and organs here are heaped together like stacked firewood, leaking blood and gore across the floor. The parts contained therein appear to have been sliced away from the parent body, rather than torn or bitten. Judging by the clean edges on the cuts, the blade used to sever these parts was extremely sharp. This is a whole world of messed up, Zero. Isobel takes a moment to suppress a retch. You think a killer stashed these here? They're stacked. They've been organized. This is our killer, all right. Looking closer at the pile, one part stands out. It's a severed forearm, and it's covered in tattoos. Words in Slavic language and a shining lighthouse adorn the forearm, and ring-like images are inked on each finger. On the back of the hand, there's a skull inside a square. This arm belonged to a Vor. These are criminal tattoos. The lighthouse shows he tried to escape from prison or planned to. The words say all police are dogs. That skull inside a square means he served a prison term for robbery once. What's a Vor? A Vor is a thief. The Vordi v Zakon is the name of the organization. Thieves in law. They have strict codes and police their own, but they don't sever arms and leave them in a pile of gore. So we're just uncovering more and more right now, man. This is kind of creepy. Like this is like a whole CSI thing. Eh? Hey again, how can I help you? Can you tell me? Can you tell me more about Elder Magpie? Sure. What do you want to know? I found this necklace. Was this Magpie's? Zippy turns the necklace over in his fingertips. Yeah, that's hers, all right. Where'd you find it? In the storm drains. It was covered in blood. Zippy takes a long, slow breath and exhales it loudly. Well, shit. Shaking his head, Zippy crosses his arms. I guess she didn't disappear after all. At least not in the way I thought. If that's where you found it, she's gotta be dead. So why would the killer not make a mess? like he did with the others? That's what I aim to find out. Good. This business keeps getting weirder and weirder. Someone killed my friend. You find them, you make them hurt for me. Let me ask you something else. See you later, Zippy. So let's see here. Optional, get the key to Magpie's shop. Search for the killer in Wampoa Garden. Okay. So we need the key to Magpie's stockroom. Okay, we actually have the key, right? Despite the table's crude construction, an artfully laid meal awaits the owner. Several small dishes are filled with pickled vegetables, while the larger plate is arranged with long slices of raw meat. The meat is a pale pinkish white, like raw pork, and is covered in a light soy marinade. Poking at the raw meat, you discover it is surprisingly tender. What's more, it has a faint aroma of marinade, as if deliberately prepared. Mm. Mementos. This box is packed full of odds and ends. It nearly overflows with a collection of knickknacks, souvenirs, and assorted personal effects. There's no rhyme or reason to the collection of items. They appear to have been thrown in haphazardly. Among the contents are charms from various temples, a wooden mask, and a paper fan. The wooden mask is extremely light. It's been painted a pale white, and the surface is almost as smooth as porcelain. Delicate features and lifted eyebrows are matched with bright red lips and delicately carved teeth. The teeth have been stained on a deep black. The small charms are square cloth packets, each approximately 1 inch wide and 3 inches tall. They come in a variety of bright colors, and are embroidered with characters for prosperity, peace, wealth, and protection. Inside each appears to be a folded paper prayer or fortune, written in Japanese. Unfolding the fan, you tilt it upward to the light to examine it. The image depicts an East Asian city from the 19th century or earlier. Curved roofs at sunset, besides a deep blue river. 2 ships sail down the river, which is in turn spanned by a long wooden bridge. In the foreground, laborers carry buckets along the shore as a man on horseback rides in the opposite direction. In the distance, a pair of large red buildings dominate the city skyline, one large temple hall, and a 5-tiered pagoda. As you step away from the box, you hear a slight click in the distance. The sounds of a door's latch shutting. You're no longer alone in the stockroom. Standing before you is a man clad in heavy armor and bearing a katana on his hip. His skin is an ashen gray, his eyes dead white. His teeth are jagged and appeared quite sharp. This is no man. This is a ghoul. The ghoul's blind eyes search back and forth as it regards you. It cannot see you, but you have a sense that it knows exactly where you are at all times. Ah, a hired gun. No doubt brought to bear against me by the Wampoan elders. A means by which they can lift the curse plaguing them. I salute your tenacity, but I wonder, will you hear me out before raising your weapon to kill me? You don't seem interested in eating me. Yes, I am not only talking, I am reasoning as well. And since you have not attempted to kill me, your own higher facilities or faculties are engaged. I am a curiosity to you. The ghoul bares his teeth, breath rasping over them as he inhales. As you wish to know, not only what I am, but what I have done. As for who, you may call me Gaicho. I know who you are. You're the one killing the Wampoan elders. You are correct. I have killed all of the Wampoan elders to date. The only elder Magpie was according to my initial plan. I regret the deaths of the other elders, but it was necessary. Explain yourself. This affair began simply enough. As you may surmise, I am not someone who can be seen in public without great risk.
Wampoa Garden is an excellent place to hide. No police or triad presence, and minimal interest in things that lurk in the shadows. Unfortunately for me, Elder Ung discovered me through communion with her spirits. Rather than kill me or chase me away, she came to me with a proposition. Ung and the other elders were having problems with one of their number, an elder named Magpie, who had been holding many of their plans hostage and would not budge. They could not remove Magpie, however, because her services were too useful to the Wampoans at large. Ung offered me payment to dispose of Magpie, and I accepted.
Wu shoots you a sidelong glance, tusks bared as he grits his jaw. Why the hell are you talking to this thing, Zero? It's a goddamn ghoul, and you know what they're like.
Really? What? Pray tell, am I like? All teeth and claws and bad manners, I expect.
Gaichu's tone is amused, despite the harshness of his rasping voice. Really? You want to crack jokes, you cannibal? Wu takes an involuntary step forward, raising his rifle. You're the kind of monster that devour a family, just because it's convenient. Remember the 1620? He's just like them. The 162s were a gang, Wu, in the Barrens. Like that makes a bit of a difference. Go on then. Talk to the monster, but I'm keeping my finger on the goddamn trigger.
I believe that we were speaking to the elders' plans to have me kill Magpie. Surely you must be a little curious about that.
I've heard of Magpie, but her shop's still locked up.
Naturally, they would keep her servers under lock and key to avoid any awkward questions about her whereabouts. I was thorough in disposing of her, as our contract stipulated. She was to simply disappear without a trace, a task that was easy enough to accomplish. I disposed of Magpie's body by emptying the blood in her bathroom. Then I cut her up into more portable pieces. Those were placed in a plastic tarp, which I took to the storm drains and hid.
Gaichu nonchalantly waves a hand, his tone flat and unconcerned.
It's unfortunate, but my survival depends upon consumption of raw metahuman flesh. Letting such nourishment go to waste would be a foolish error.
That doesn't explain everything.
Afford me a moment, and I will explain the rest to you. I contacted the elders, not in person, of course, and they arranged to exchange payment. I assumed that since the job was done, Ung would be a woman of her word.
Baring his teeth, Gaichu hisses his next words across clenched teeth.
I was mistaken. I arrived at a nearby parking garage the elders had told me about. They'd cleared out the other Wampoans under some pretense, though I'm not sure what ruse they used. The elders never showed up. Instead, several members of the Hong Kong police force arrived. They were more heavily armed than usual, so I suspect they knew something of my nature.
I saw scarring on the concrete from bullets and a blade. You killed them with a sword?
And my hands, yes. My blindness precludes the use of ranged weapons, unfortunate, since I was an excellent shot before I became infected. But my skills in grappling and kenjutsu have only increased. A battle of swords is a clash of souls. Mine was stronger than theirs, and they perished. A betrayal of that sort cannot stand. Not only was I not paid for my time and effort, the Wampoan elders treated me like a common animal, and I am so much more than that. Reputation is everything, and I had none. I had hoped to build a network of contacts so that I would be able to continue finding work. But with that treachery, my hopes were dashed. I decided to become the monster that they feared. One by one, I have eliminated them. They know how to contact me and could have ended their nightmare at any time by making amends. I would have asked for more money, but I would have ceased my hunt. Yet they did not. Instead, they contacted you, no doubt asking you to eliminate me where the police had failed. So I ask, what now? What will you do? Will you attempt to finish what the Wampoan started, or will you treat me with the same humanity I have showed you? Let me ask you some questions. Very well. What would you like to know?
Is this from your armor?
Ah, yes. I felt a ragged edge on one shoulder blade. I assume it was removed when one of the police officers shot me with this rifle. Now I'm gonna need some water, y'all. Ooh. The hazards of war include unkempt attire, unfortunately.
Did you eat the elders?
Some of them, not all. My condition requires that I consume raw metahuman flesh. I do not require a great deal to survive, perhaps 3 to 4 pounds per week. Consequently, there is vastly more supply than demand.
Why would the elders have you killed instead of paying you?
Any number of reasons. They are notorious cheapskates and will always try to save money when dealing with outsiders. It could be their natural inclination toward profits. They may regard me as subhuman and therefore unworthy of respect.
Sorry, I had to burp.
It could be that they felt I was too dangerous to allow to live. I could even be that they simply do not like me. The net result is the same. However, they reneged on a deal we brokered and attempted to have me killed. A message must be sent. Blood must be paid. As they have hired you to kill me, they have obviously not learned their lesson.
If I let you live, what will you do?
Kill the rest of the elders and anyone else they send to exterminate me. It is a matter of survival. Should I ever have the opportunity to work freelance again, potential employers need to understand the price of betrayal. These murders are my curriculum vitae in revenge.
I've made my decision.
Oh, what then will you do? How will this story end?
Come and work with me. I can be your face.
A curious offer. And what of the elders? Will you allow me the satisfaction of killing them?
I want to see what they have to say first.
I will counsel you not to believe their words. But you have the sound of one who is wary as a matter of course. Very well. Let us wait until a bit later in the night. Most pedestrians will be off the street, and it will be easier for us to approach the Wampoa without being noticed.
Sounds like a good plan. Well, looks like we found the killer, but there is a whole thing going on here. As you approach, Elder Ng's eyes widen. Her mouth falls open, and the veins on her neck bulge. What are you doing? You've brought this thing into our home. Quick, kill it before it kills us. Porter hefts his pistol warily, but does not aim it at anyone. Yeah, I have to say, this isn't a good idea. Why the hell is a ghoul in here, and why is it wearing armor?
Calm yourselves. I am not an it, and your elders know this intimately.
Gaichu bares his teeth in a rictus grin as he turns to face Ng.
Good evening, Elder Ung. I can smell your fear, and I'm glad of this. It means you are learning the price of betrayal.
Whoa, what the hell is going on here? Can someone explain to me why the ghoul is talking? The elders have been lying to the rest of the Wampoans. We would never lie to the Wampoans. Our role is to protect this community, not lie to it. What proof do you have to back up your claims? Porter nods at the elders, looking back at you with a wary expression. I'm interested to hear what kind of evidence you have to support this theory, Zero. As far as I can tell, this monster killed Tong and the others, and that makes him a threat that should be eliminated. The elders hired Gaichu to kill Elder Magpie and make it look like she disappeared. You believe this, vermin? This creature feasts on metahuman flesh that kills and dismembers our tribesmen? You are a naive and foolish man if that's the case. And he spits on the ground in front of Gaichu. What proof do you have that Magpie is dead? Please. In matters where an elder is accused of breaking our law, the other elders generally judge them. In matters where all of them have been accused, I am authorized to act as a judge. Make your case, Shadowrun. I found Magpie's necklace in the storm drains. Porter takes a moment to examine the necklace. He nods at you. This is definitely Elder Magpie's. If you found it in a storm drain, that's suspicious, but hardly proof on its own. Of course it's not proof. The number of things lost down storm drains in Hong Kong must number in the tens of thousands per year. While unusual, it's hardly evidence of foul play. She hasn't been seen in a month, not by anyone. She wouldn't just disappear like that. That may be unlikely, but it's hardly impossible. You haven't established that the elders were involved. All you've done is make suppositions about it. What proof do you have that we hired and betrayed this creature? I won't sit by and listen to idle accusations without any kind of concrete evidence to back it up. What about the fight with the Hong Kong police force? What do you mean? What does that have to do with the elders and the ghoul? The evidence in the garage points to a fight with someone using a sword. We allowed the police into Whampoa Garden because they were hunting someone. They never told us who or why they were looking for their quarry. It didn't have anything to do with us. Gaichu hisses through clenched teeth, addressing Porter Lamb. I was only in the garage to collect payment from them. The ordinary residents were warned of the HKPF's arrival and were gone by the time I arrived. That's suspicious, I admit. Porter regards the elders for a long moment. It still doesn't prove the elders knew it was the ghoul. This is a piece of Gaichu's armor I found in the garage. The markings on it prove it. You point out the armor's markings to Porter, and he nods with some satisfaction. This is from his armor, definitely. But how does it prove that the elders knew of the ghoul's existence? The police officers were abnormally armed and armored, with much heavier gear than a normal patrol. They were armed with armor-piercing, discarding sabot rounds. That's hardly standard issue. Lesser weapons wouldn't have broken that armor plate. If all they were looking for was a common fugitive, why be prepared for a fight of that magnitude? Obviously, they knew what they were searching for. That doesn't mean we did. You Wampoans don't allow police inside the area. Why make an exception this time? The police were polite and asked our permission to enter. They were hunting a non-Wampoan. That was reason enough for us to allow them in. Porter considers this for a moment and then shakes his head. That doesn't add up, Ung. Why would the police ask us for entry now? They've never been polite before, and they've always tried to force their way in here. It just doesn't ring true to me. Did you ask them to come and order a hunt down this ghoul? Preposterous, Porter. You know what our community is like. We wouldn't lie over something like this. This ghoul has been lying the entire time, trying to cover his tracks. He still brutally murdered several elders. Well, that's true. Those murders were vicious and cruel. Porter fixes you with a hard stare. I don't see any way to explain that away. This ghoul is a monster for how he killed Tong and the others. The scene of Tong's murder, like the others, was a deliberate sham. It was made to look more horrific than it was. I believe you. The blood smeared on the walls, the removal of his skin, that's a scene designed to evoke horror, not the scene of an actual fight. Elders, what do you have to say in response? This is a farce. We have dictated ourselves to protecting the Wampoan tribe and everyone who lives in Wampoa Garden. Do you really believe outsiders and monsters over our word? We, who have only tried to end the killings, you've been duped, Porter. You and this Shadowrunner. I concur. Porter, you know me. You know the kind of person I am. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be party to the killing of another elder. I can't believe we've been entertaining the notion that we have to defend ourselves. We should be disposing of this ghoul instead. Tang narrows his eyes at you, hissing. If you think I'll forget this, you're sorely mistaken. I will not tolerate this kind of insult. The elders were all too happy to have the red spears move into the garage, almost like they wanted to keep anyone curious about the fight away. That's right, Ip. You even told me not to go find out what happened with that fight. You said the Red Spear gangers were moving in and to leave them alone. Why would you tell me not to look into it? I was only trying to protect you from the Red Spears. They're dangerous, which is why I wanted to deal with them quickly. That's all I've got. Alright, I think I have some idea of what's going on here. And what do you believe the real story is? The waters are muddy out in this matter. The ghoul seems to be telling some of the truth, and I respect that. But the fact remains, he is a dangerous creature who's killed many of our number. Our law is clear on this, Zero. He must die. You seem to be blameless in this, Zero. What do you say to this decision? I'm not going to let you kill Gaichu. Then you too must die. Ip! The Wampoans ready their weapons. And it's time to fight. Elder Ip. Elder Ung. Damn, he got smacked up. Ractor, go here. Damn. As the elders fall to the floor, you stop and survey the carnage around you.
It is accomplished. No more betrayers alive. No more worry that others may think they can take advantage of me. Lead the way. I look forward to our new business partnership.
All right, we're good. The MTR rockets noiselessly toward Hawi along the edge of Kowloon Bay. The black water glitters in the night with the light of 1,000 reflective storefronts. Gaichu stares sightlessly out the window, one hand pressed to the glass. The Wampoan elders are dead. They forced your hand and paid the price for it. Their story was a cleverly crafted lie, meant to put the ghoul to death for their greed. But was the trade you made worth it? The uncertainty of that choice is as clouded as the sky above you. It was definitely worth it. Gaichu is really good. Your comlink chirps. It's kindly Cheng. Yes, ma'am. Come to the Mahjong parlor, my darling. I have something I want to show you. Your crew is already here. I'll be there right away. Very good, my sweet. Very good. I'll see you shortly. So we got 8 karma now, so we got 11. Hold on, let me talk to maximum law. Yo, Zero, I gotta go, man. This is the cat I was telling you about. Law is speaking into the air as you approach. His bulky goggles flash with an unusually diverse array of condition lights. The Google, the goggle servos whine softly as a set of lenses focus on you. Zero, what's going on? What have you been up to? Wait, were you just telling someone about me? Don't worry. T0 is Wampoan. He's so cool, he's like refrigerant. So what can I hook you up with today? About the Wampoan Elder Massacre. Law erupts into a torrent of livid, awkward profanity, cursing furiously in some sort of pidgin of Cantonese and tech speak. Eventually he slows down and his swearing slackens. When Magpie gets back, that shit is going down. We're gonna spike those bastards with some much black ice that their brains are gonna turn into pudding. And we're gonna feed that pudding to fucking dogs. He folds his arms, and an almost comical snarl on his face. I'm not surprised the other elders got themselves killed. Figures. Well, Magpie will know what to do. We'll take care of this. You don't know who killed the elders. We don't. It's bullshit. It's a setup. The cameras were all shut down. The mall's door logger was shut down. Everything was shut down by guess who? Elder Ung. Everybody was at a mandatory all hands scrum in the Matrix. You know who called it? Elder Ung. Was she there? No. We're supposed to know everything. We're open source inside the tribe. Someone chopped up half the circle, then waltzed into the mall and wiped out the rest, then vanished. Thanks, Ung, you villain chaser idiot. You seem fond of Magpie. Magpie is the best of the bunch. She's brilliant. She's a wicked coder and a Nova Hot Decker. Plus, she knows the infrastructure. The others, they were okay. They had skills, except for Ung. She was all woo woo and couldn't code or build shit. but she always wanted to get in the middle of things with her blathering. Those of us in Magpie's bus maintain the shadow nets. That's what keeps Wampoa independent. We're the core. Some people can't handle that. You don't show much respect for your elders. Law shrugs. A lot of people are like, respect your elders, kiss their servos. Hey, that's good if you're in the old meat world, but we're Wampoa. We're a self-organizing machine, a neural network tribe. Being an elder is a job and a duty, like being a core processor. Elders organize the work sectors and maintain infrastructure. The elders aren't gods, they're routers. Wampoa is built around the network. It's stuck to lose their skills. It sucks to lose their skills. The network has suffered a blow. Let's get to the point. I've got something to tell you about the massacre. What? You know something? Every actuating lens on law goggles zooms in on you. A fresh set of status lights begin blinking. One appears to indicate that he is recording. You were investigating the killings, right? Word is you were asking around. First of all, Magpie's dead. What? Law's visible lower face goes ashen. Sorry, Law. It's true. Oh, they really got it coming. We will not forget. As you ready yourself to speak, the facts remain clear. It seems to be a small miracle the Wampoans haven't identified you. Wampoa has immense leverage in the shadows for maintaining the underworld communications infrastructure. If the Wampoans determine you killed the elders, they would certainly sanction you and probably put a bounty on you. If they burn your sin for Kindly, they might unburn it. In the best case scenario, Kindly would be forced to withdraw her protection. You'd be locked out of network access and all facing the Hong Kong shadows. The worst case scenario is exponentially worse. Tell Maximum Law that you killed the elders would be suicide. I saw some shadowy characters leaving the mall. That's all I've got. Huh. Really? Well, that's no surprise. It's nothing to go on, but thanks. Thanks for telling me, even though it wasn't much. When we find them, they're gonna end up face down dead on a smoking keyboard with their brains oozing out their ears like overcooked ramen. Mark my words. I've got some metadata for you. Never mind. See you later, Law. You gotta go? Okay, blah blah blah. He does always says the same thing after. So basically, I did kill all the elders. Not all of them. There was a couple I didn't do. That was Gaichu's doing. And I'm not going to incriminate Gaichu for that because he's on the SWAT now. So, oh, we have level ups. Gaichu, most likely. Yep. So we have the red samurai or ghoul. Defensive ability that has +2 armor. Damn. You see why I wanted him on the squad? Like, he has some really good abilities if you're reading these. Let me see. So, I don't know which one I want to do. Should I do Red Samurai? I think Rip would be the good one here. I mean, he is like a. Yeah, I'm going to do the Red Samurai. And we are going to do the Spit. Yes. Yes. And we are going to do the Bite. Let me see. Wait, is this one? As you walk through the Mahjong parlor, you see your crew waiting for you, clearly uncomfortable to be so close to the Triad boss. Then you see why. Kindly Chang's cheeks are flushed and glowing. She's already hit the bottle pretty hard. Ah, Zero, you're here. Excellent. Yes, Zero. It is good to see you. They both have expressions that say they'd rather be anywhere else. Let's get to it, shall we? You said you had a lead, Auntie. I did, and I do. Kylie Chang takes out her PDA and gently places it on the table in front of her. The wiretap we placed on the police force has borne fruits. Her mouth breaks into a wolfish grin. Her eyes take on a feral gleam. She appears fueled by alcohol and vengeance, a hungry beast on the hunt. My people have delivered a snippet of a recorded video call between a plastic-faced man and Chief Inspector Crate of the Special Duties Unit. Whoa, this should be good. Should we take a seat? Unfortunately, it's only a snippet. There were some technical difficulties with the tap. She glances at Bao, who nods back at her. The person responsible has been sacked. Cheng reaches out a lacquered fingernail, hunts for the button she's looking for, and stabs it in victory. There's a loud cracking noise at the beginning of the recording, followed by a squelching squeal that makes Gobbet cover her ears in pain. When the video recording begins, the man's voice sounds far away as if he's talking through a thick pane of glass. The woman is louder, closer. Say that again. There's something wrong with this line. I said my client isn't interested in hearing more excuses, Inspector. That's what I thought you said. I'm not making excuses, mister. I have a department to run. Not for much longer. If those two Westerners aren't found, they're linked to this Raymond Black somehow, and my client wants them out of circulation immediately. Like two runners are his accomplices. Two. The little orc and the dwarf with the cyberdeck. Gobbet looks at Isobel wide-eyed and swallows hard. Isobel winks back reassuringly. I'm aware, Inspector. Thank you. We don't ha- we don't know how much any of them know, and my client is adamant that the risk be mitigated immediately. I've already made this the SDU's highest priority. If Josephine wants more resources on it, I'm going to need allocations from elsewhere in the department. That is a problem that can be easily dealt with. My client wants this over now. No more excuses, no more fuck ups, no more cops floating in the river. Kylie Chang smiles at that and pours herself a shot. Tell her we're redoubling our efforts. Very good. Dead or alive, you bring them to me. My client requires my personal verification that the threat has been eliminated. Hang on, this line is getting worse. There's a sharp crackle and the recording ends. Kylie Chen picks up her PDA and puts it away with a smile. She unscrews the cap on her bottle and pours herself a shot with a flourish. That's the guy we saw in the surveillance footage. The one who killed Raymond Black. She leans into the PDA. That plastic face looks a lot cooler up close. I think it's kind of pretty. That video doesn't tell us much. I mean, we already know that there's an APB on us. All we're sure of now is that the man with the plastic face is definitely working for someone else. This Josephine. Is that all we have, Auntie? A first name? It's not just a first name, Gobbit dear. It's the first name. Josephine Song. She's the one pulling the strings. Kindly drowns her shot and slams the glass upside down on her table. The disease-riddled dog fucker. I should have known it was her from the beginning. She drums her fingers on the table in front of her. And she had nerve to call down the heat on my runners? On Nightjar? Oh, that scabrous fossil is gonna pay. This woman has enough power to order the HKPF to hunt us down. Mm-hmm. Chen takes a wet hacking noise in the back of her throat, or makes a wet hacking noise in the back of her throat and spits on the floor. She's the CEO of Sang's Mechanical Services and a member of the Hong Kong Executive Council. Her face turns to a mask of disgust. Josephine dog fucking Song. CEO, what do you know about her? She was Hong Kong's philanthropist of the year in 2054 and 2055. Children's hospitals, homeless shelters, food distribution centers. Good causes. And the kind that led good PR because people are too lazy and myopic to look for the real people doing the hard work. The face to face with the poor work. Don't be so cynical, Isobel. Auntie Chang smiles at her sweetly. Coming face to face with the unsanitized for video poor is distasteful, dear. You know that. Her face gets stony. Beyond being a CEO and a philanthropist, I also know that Josephine Sang is a lying, conniving bitch. Sounds like you two have a history together. Whatever gave you that impression, my sweet? Her wolfish smile returns. Yes, my darling. I don't like Josephine Sang, and I'm going to fuck her up. I'm going to fuck her up bad. Oh, this should be good. It will be delicious, and I may explain why someday, but not today. She picks up her bottle of swill. Its turpentine fumes drift your way. But when I finally get her, you'll be there, my darling. I'll make it a party. What is Sang's mechanical service? Josephine's, baby. It was a B-rated corporation before she married into the Sang family. But after she fought for and won the contract to rebuild Kowloon Walled City, their fortunes rose high. They began a rise to power that eventually landed Josephine on the executive council. Walled City. The Walled City. Yes. The same place Raymond Black hired my runners to take him. I've already connected the dots. I don't know what it means, but it clearly means something. What do you think the connection is between Joseph Sang and this plastic face man? I don't know yet, but I will. He called her his client. There may be some sort of lead we can follow. Cheng nods at Wu. Her glance lingers at his biceps a moment before continuing. Right now, all we know is that he is her instrument, the one who killed Raymond Black. Raymond's not dead. Yes, you may have mentioned that before, Gunshow. She smiles at him reprovingly. Regardless,
The plastic faced man is still our best lead for figuring out what's going on.
Remind me who this executive council is again.
May I, Auntie? Isobel breaks in, giving Kindly Chang a chance to calm down a bit. Hong Kong is run by a consortium of powerful corporations called the Board of Governors, who set up the Executive Council, an 8 member committee of exemplary Hong Kong citizens to represent the people and run the city on their behalf. But of course, you don't vote for them. That would be too unpredictable. Instead, every 2 years, 2 executive council slots come up for election, and the corporations on the board of governors put up some possible candidates and vote among themselves in a closed door session.
Closed door. I'm shocked.
Of course, every single one of these candidates is on some corporation's payroll somehow. Wham bam, instant government.
Let's cut to the chase. Let's cut to the chase. What's our next step?
There's nothing we can do to touch Josephine's song, as much as I hate to admit it. But the plastic faced man is a different story. He's a third party operative who's been careless, and he'll live to regret it. Her little black eyes turn stony. For a while. If Song thinks she can take out 2 of my runners and get away with it, I'm going to have to explain things to her. She pulls out a thin black cigar and runs it beneath her nose. We're going to find the plastic faced man, and we're going to hurt him. We'll hurt him until we know everything he does, and then we will use that to strike back at Josephine Sung. She lights her cigar and takes a deep, deep pull. You will have your own vengeance, and I will have my own satisfaction. She turns away and picks up the bottle. Now get out. I have work to do.
This case is turning more and more crazy by the second. I tell you that.
All right. You submit the job is finished and await the response. A few moments later, a message pops onto the screen. From Kylie Chen to Zero. I asked you to solve a problem, and your method of solving it is to kill the people I was doing a favor for? I have half a mind to throw you into the goddamn bay. Still, the Wampoans are now more afraid of me than ever, and money started flowing again, so I suppose that's something. I've attached your payment. The Wampoans made it explicitly clear that they wouldn't have paid at all, except to ensure you never come back to the gardens. Next time, try not to fuck the job up so much. I may not be as forgiving. Kindly Chang. Hey, dude, I figured out that they were trying to kill their own people, and I got a fucking dope ass team member in return. So screw you, kindly. A stabbing pain in your stomach jolts you awake. Your entire abdomen is cramping up. You roll in your cot, willing the shooting pains that radiate from your stomach to go away. Your mouth is bone dry and your tongue is swollen. It feels thick and inarticulate, like a useless slab of meat. A quick glance at your PDA tells you it's 4 a.m. Outside your cabin, the rest of Haoi sleeps. All that you remember of the dream that you awoke from is a horrible, unfulfilled yearning and a need to get where you were going first. Others were behind you, and you could feel the heat of their breath on your neck. If you were to beat them to your destination, you could slam the door in their faces, keep them out and away from what was yours. But they overtook you. But if they overtook you, you would feel that terrible longing forever. As you grasp at your last fleeting memories of the dream, a wave of exhaustion washes over you. It feels like you've been drugged. You collapse back into your cot and into a black, dreamless sleep. When you open your eyes again, the sun filters in under your door. It's morning. And I wonder what's going on with all this sleep stuff. So I'm going to save the game here. I'm going to create a new save. And we're going to end the stream here. And we'll get on to the next episode, tomorrow or whenever I get to it. And
for anyone who came by, hope you enjoyed. And for anyone who watches this, I also hope you enjoy the entire playthrough and all the rest of the episodes if you decide to watch them. But this is GamerZero, and I'm signing out, and I'll hit y'all up in the next one. Deuces.